your tobacco.
Here. Gonna rain tonight.
Papers say so.
Yeah, right here.
Then it can't rain.
Hiya.
Hello, Frank. What's doing?
Nothing. Walking off my breakfast. Oh, that beautiful. Not a cloud.
Yeah. Nice.
Every Sunday ought to be like this.
Want the paper?
What's the difference? It's all bad news. What's today's calamity?
I don't know. I don't read the news parts anymore. More interesting in the one heads.
What, you trying to buy something?
No, I'm just interested to see what people want, you know? For instance, here's a guy looking for 2 Newfoundland dogs. What's he want with 2 Newfoundland dogs?
That is funny.
Here's another one. Wanted. Old dictionaries. High prices paid. Look, what's a man going to do with an old dictionary?
Why not? Probably a book collector.
You mean to make a living out of that?
Sure, there's a lot of them.
All the kinds of business going on. In my day, you were either a lawyer or a doctor, or you worked in a shop. Nowadays,
Well, I was going to be a forester once.
well, that shows you. In my day, there was no such thing. You look at a page like this, you realize how ignorant you are.
Hey, what happened to your tree?
Ain't that awful? The wind must have got it last night. You heard the wind, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a mess in my yard, too. What a pity. What'd Kate say?
They're all asleep yet. I'm just waiting for her to see it.
You know, it's funny.
What?
Larry was born in August. He'd been 27 this month, and his tree blows down.
I'm surprised you remembered his birthday, Frank. That's nice.
Well, I'm working on his horoscope.
How can you make him a horoscope? That's for the future, ain't it?
Well, what I'm doing is this, see. Larry was reported missing on November 25th, right?
Yeah.
Well, then we assume that if he was killed, that it was on November 25th. Now, what Kate wants is...
Oh, Kate asked you to make a horoscope.
Yes, what Kate wants to find out is whether November 25th was a favorable day for Larry.
What is that? Favorable day.
Well, a favorable day for a person is a fortunate day, according to his stars. No, in other words, it would be practically impossible for him to have died on his favorable day.
Well, was that his favorable day? November 25th?
That's what I'm working on to find out. It takes time. See, the point is, if November 25th was his favorable day, then it's completely possible that he's alive somewhere because... I mean, it's possible.
Is he talking sense?
I didn't even see you.
Him? He's all right. He's just completely out of his mind. That's all.
The trouble with you is you don't believe in anything.
And the trouble with you is that you believe in anything. Have you seen my kid?
No?
Imagine, he walked off with his thermometer right out of his bag.
What a problem. He sees a girl and right away he wants to take her temperature.
That boy's going to be a real doctor. He's smart.
Over my dead body. A fine beginning, too.
Why? It's an honorable profession.
Frank, will you stop talking like a civics book?
Why, I saw a movie a couple weeks ago reminded me of you. There was a doctor in that picture.
Don Amici.
I think it was, yeah, and he worked in his basement discovering things. That's what you ought to do. You could help humanity instead of always trying to...
I would love to help humanity. On a Warner Brothers salary.
That's very good, Jim.
Well, where's this beautiful girl I've been hearing about?
Annie came?
Sure, sleeping upstairs. We picked her up on the 1 o'clock train last night. Wonderful thing. Girl left here, a scrawny kid. A couple of years go by, she's a regular woman. Hardly recognized her. And she was running in and out of this yard all her life. That was a very happy family used to live in your house, Jim.
Like to meet her. This block could use a beautiful girl. There isn't anything to see in this neighborhood except my wife. Except my wife.
Mrs. Adams is on the phone, you dog.
Such is the condition that prevails. My light, my love.
Nah, don't sniff around me. Give her a nasty answer. I can smell her perfume over the phone.
What's the matter with her now?
Well, I don't know, dear. She sounds like she's in terrible pain.
Well,
Unless her mouth is full of candy.
why don't you tell her to lay down?
Well, she likes it better when you tell her to lie down. And when are you going to see Mr. Hubbard?
Mr. Hubbard is not sick, my dear, and I have better things to do than to hold his hand.
Oh, it seems to me that for $10, you could hold his hand.
If your son is up for a golf game, tell him I'm ready. Or if he'd like to go around the world for 30 years.
Why do you needle him? He's a doctor. Women are supposed to call him up.
Well, all I said was, Mrs. Adams is on the phone. Can I have some of your parsley?
Yeah, sure. You were a nurse too long, Susie. You're too realistic.
There you go. Now you said it.
Frank,
Hello.
hiya. The toaster is off again.
Well, plug it in. I just fixed it.
Oh dear, please fix it back like it was before.
I don't know why you can't learn to turn on a simple thing like a toaster.
Thomas Edison.
He's really very handy. Oh, did the wind get your tree?
Yeah, last night.
Oh, what a pity. Hey, is Annie in?
She'll be down in a minute. Wait till you meet her, Sue. She's a knockout.
I should have been a man. People are always introducing me to beautiful women. Oh, tell her to come over afterward, later. I imagine she'd like to see what we did with her house. And thanks.
Is she still unhappy, Joe?
Annie? I don't suppose she goes around dancing on her toes, but she seems to be over it.
Well, is she gonna get married? Is there anybody she's...
I suppose. Let's say it's a couple of years already. She can't mourn a boy forever.
Yeah, it's so strange. Annie's here and not even married, and I've got 3 babies. I thought it'd be the other way around.
Well, that's what a war does. I had 2 sons, now I got 1. It changed all the tallies. In my day, when you had sons, it was an honor. Today, a doctor could make $1 million if he could figure out a way to bring a boy into this world without a trigger finger.
Yeah, I was reading about that the other day. Oh, hiya, Chris.
Lydia, come in here. If you want the toaster to work, don't plug in the malted mixer.
Oh, did I...
And the next time I fix something, don't tell me I'm crazy. Now come in here.
I'm never gonna hear the end of this one.
So what's the difference? Instead of toast, have a malted. You want the paper?
It's all right. It's the book section.
You're always reading the book section, and you never buy a book.
Well, I like to keep abreast of my ignorance.
What is that? Every week a new book comes out?
Lots of new books.
All different?
All different.
Jeez. Annie up yet?
My mother's fixing her breakfast in the dining room.
See what happened to the tree?
Yeah.
What's Mother gonna say? What's she gonna say? Maybe we should tell her before she sees it.
Well, she saw it.
How could she see it? I was the first one up. She was still in bed.
Standing right here when it cracked.
When?
About 4 this morning. I woke up. I looked out. I could see her through the window. She was standing right here when it broke.
What was she doing out here at 4 in the morning?
I don't know. When it cracked, she ran the house and cried in the kitchen.
Did you talk to her?
No. I figured the best thing was to leave her alone.
She cried hard.
I could hear her right from the floor of my room.
What was she doing out here at that hour? She's dreaming about him again. She's walking around at night.
I guess she is.
She's getting just like after he died. What's the meaning of that?
I don't know the meaning of it. But I know one thing, Dad. We made a terrible mistake with Mother.
What?
Being dishonest with her? I mean, that kind of thing always pays off, and now it's paying off.
What do you mean, dishonest?
You know Larry's not coming back, and I know it. Why do we let her believe that we believe it with her?
What do you want to do, argue with her?
I don't want to argue with her, but it's time she realized nobody believes Larry is alive anymore. Why shouldn't she dream about him? Walk the nights waiting for him? Do we contradict her? Do we tell her we have no hope? That we haven't had hope for years now?
You can't say that to her.
You've got to say it to her.
Can you prove it? How are you going to prove
For
it?
God's sakes, 3 years. Nobody comes back after 3 years. It's insane.
To you it is, and to me, but not to her. You can talk yourself blue in the face, but there's no body and no grave, so where are you?
All right, Dad. All right. Sit down. I want to talk to you. Sit down.
The trouble is the goddamn newspapers. Every month some boy turns up out of nowhere.
Right.
So the next one's
Dad,
going to be Larry.
Will you listen to me? You know I brought Annie here, don't you?
Why?
You know.
Well, I got an idea, but what's the story?
Well, I'm gonna ask her to marry me.
Well, that's only your business.
You know it's not only my business.
What do you want me to do? You're old enough to know your own mind.
Oh, well, it's okay then. I'll go through with it.
Well, you want to make sure.
Well, that isn't just my business, is it?
I'm just saying.
I mean, isn't it? You infuriate me sometimes. Isn't it your business too? If I ask Mother and she throws a fit, I mean, you have such talent for ignoring things.
I ignore what I gotta ignore. The girl is Larry's girl.
She's not Larry's girl.
From Mother's point of view, he is not dead, and you have no right to take his girl. Now, you can go on from there if you know where to go, but I'm telling you, I don't know where to go. See, I don't know.
I don't know why this
Now,
every time.
What can I do for you?
Every time I reach out for something I want, I have to pull back because other people will suffer. My whole bloody life. Time after time after time.
You're a considerate fellow. There's nothing wrong in that.
Oh, to hell with that.
Did you ask Annie yet?
I wanted this settled first.
Well, how do you know she'll marry you? Maybe she feels the same way Mother does.
Well, if that's the case, that's the end of it. But from her letters, I think she forgot him. I don't know. I'll find out and I'll ask Mother, all right? Then we'll thrash it out, all right? Dad, don't avoid me.
Trouble is, you don't see enough women. You never did.
I'm not fast with women.
I don't see why it has to be Annie.
Because it is.
That's a good answer, but it don't answer anything. You haven't seen her since you went to war. It's 5 years.
I can't help it, all right? I grew up next to her. I know her best. These years, when I think of someone for my wife, I think of Annie. Now, what do you want? A diagram?
I don't want a diagram. She thinks he's coming back. You marry that girl, you're pronouncing him dead. Now what's going to happen to Mother? Do you know? I don't.
All right, Dad, all right.
Give it some more thought.
I've given it 3 years of thought, all right? I thought if I waited, she'd be forgotten, I could have a wedding and everything happy. But if I can't get it done here, I'll get out.
What the hell is this?
I'll get out. I'll go to New York or someplace. Get married there, New York.
Are you crazy?
I've been a good son too long, all right? A good sucker.
It's-
I'm through with it.
You got a business here. What the hell is this?
The business! The business does not inspire me.
Must you be inspired?
Yes! I like it an hour a day. If I have to grunt for money all day long, at least at evening, I want it beautiful. I want a family. I want some kids. I want something to give myself to. Now, Annie is in the middle of that. Now, where do I find it? Huh?
You mean? Tell me something. You mean you'd leave the business?
Yes, on this I would.
Well, you don't want to think like that.
Then just you help me stay here. Huh?
All right, but don't think like that, because what the hell did I work for? That's only for you, Chris. The whole shooting match is for you.
All right, Dad. Then just you help me stay here, okay?
But don't think like that. You hear me?
I am thinking that way.
I don't understand you, do I?
No, you don't. I'm a pretty tough guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Joe,
Hey, Ma.
did you take a bag out from under the sink?
Yeah, I put it in the pail.
Well, get it out of the pail. That's my potatoes.
I thought it was garbage.
Oh, Joe, do me a favor. Don't be ill.
I can afford another bag of potatoes.
Then he scoured that pail last night with boiling water. It's cleaner than your teeth.
And I don't understand why, after I worked 40 years and I got a maid, I have to take out the garbage.
If you would just make up your mind that every bag in the kitchen isn't garbage, you wouldn't be throwing out my vegetables. The last time it was the onions.
I don't like garbage in the house.
Then don't eat.
Well, that settles you for today.
Yeah, I'm in last place again. I don't know. Once upon a time, I used to think that once I got money again, I would have a maid and my wife could take it easy. Now I got money, and I got a maid, and my wife is working for the maid.
It's her day off. What are you crabbing about?
Is Annie finished eating yet?
She'll be right out. Oh, that wind did some job on this place. Ah, so much for that, thank God.
Sit down, take it easy.
Oh, that's such a funny pain in my head.
Can I get you an aspirin?
Ah, no more roses. Everything decides to happen at the same time. This month is his birthday, his tree blows down, Annie comes. Everything that's happened seems to be coming back. I was just down in the cellar, and what do I trip over? but his baseball glove. Haven't seen that in a century.
Well, doesn't Annie look well?
Fine. No question about it. She's a beauty. But I still don't know what brought her here. Not that I'm not glad to see her.
I just thought we'd all like to see each other again, and I'd like to see her myself.
Only thing is, I think her nose got a little longer.
What?
But I'll always love that girl. She's one that didn't jump into bed with somebody else the minute it happened to her.
Oh, what are you talking about? Not Annie.
Never mind. Most of them didn't even wait till their telegrams were opened. I'm glad she's come, so you can see I'm not completely out of my mind.
You know, just because she isn't married doesn't mean she's mourning Larry.
Why then isn't she?
Well, it could be any number of things.
What, for instance?
I don't know. Whatever it is. Can I get you an aspirin?
It's not like a headache.
You don't sleep, that's why. She's wearing out more bedroom slippers than shoes.
And a terrible night. Never had a night like that before.
What is it, Mom? Did you dream
More than a dream.
about Larry?
I was fast asleep. Remember how he used to fly low past the house when he was in training and we could see his face in the cockpit going by? Well, that's how I saw him. Only high up. Way up where the clouds are. He was so real I could reach out and touch him and suddenly he started to fall and crying to me, Mom, Mom. I could hear him like he was in the room, Mom. It was his voice. If I could touch him, I know I could stop it. If only. And then I woke up and it was so funny. The wind was like the roaring of his engine. I came out here and must have been half asleep. I could hear that roaring like he was going by, and the tree snapped right in front of me. And I came awake. See? We should never have planted that tree. I said so in the first place. I told you it was too soon to plant a tree.
Too soon?
We rushed into it. Everyone was in such a hurry to bury him. I told you not to plant
Mother!
it.
Mother!
Wait.
Mother! The wind blew it down, okay? What significance has that got? Mother, please. Don't go through it again. There's no point. It doesn't accomplish anything. It's no good. Mother. You know, I've been thinking maybe we should put our mind to forgetting him. Huh?
That's the third time you said that this week.
Well, it's not right. All right? We never took up our lives again. We're like a railroad station waiting for a train that never comes in.
Get me an aspirin, huh?
Just don't go through it again, okay? Please. You know, I was thinking, you know, some night we could go out to dinner together, go dancing by the shore.
Fine. We can do it tonight.
Swell with me.
Let's have some fun, okay? You'll start with this aspirin.
Why did he invite her here?
Why does that bother you?
She's been in New York for 3.5 years. Why?
Well,
all of a sudden.
maybe he just wanted to see her.
Ugh, nobody comes 700 miles just to see.
What do you mean? He lived next door to the girl all his life. Why shouldn't he want to see her again? Don't look at me like that. He didn't tell me any more than he told you.
He's not gonna marry her.
How do you know he's even thinking about
He's
it?
got that about it.
Well, so what?
What's going on here, Joe?
Now listen, kid.
She's not his girl, and she knows she's not.
You can't read her mind.
Then why is she still single? There are tons of men in New York. Why isn't she married? Probably 100 people told her she was foolish, but she's waited.
Well, how do you know why she waited?
She knows what I know. That's why. She's as faithful as a rock. My worst moments, I think of her waiting, and I know again that I'm right.
Look, it's a nice day. What are we arguing for?
Nobody in this family does take her faith away, Joe. Strangers might, but not her father. Not his brother.
What do you want me to do? What do you want?
I want you to act like he's coming back. Both of you. Don't think I haven't noticed you since Chris invited her here. I won't stand for any nonsense.
But Kate,
Because if he's not coming back, then I'll kill myself. Laugh. Laugh at me. Why did that happen the very night she came back? Laugh, but there are meanings in such things. She sleeps in his room, and his memorial breaks into pieces. Look at it, Joe. Look at it.
Calm yourself.
Believe with me, Joe. I can't stand alone.
Calm yourself.
Only last week, a man in Detroit turned up, missing longer than Larry. You read it yourself?
Oh, all right. Calm yourself.
Joe, you, above all, have got to believe.
Why me above all?
Just don't stop believing.
What does that mean? Me above all?
Mr. Keller, Tommy's saying again. Aren't you going to arrest him?
Stop that bird! Go home! There's no jail here! Joe, I want you to stop that jail nonsense now.
Look at you shaking.
I can't help it.
What have I got to hide? What the hell is the matter with you,
I
Kate?
didn't say you had anything to hide. I'm just telling you to stop it now. Stop it.
Hey, Joe.
Oh, take a breath of air, kid. Won't get air like that in New York.
Annie, where did you get that
Oh,
dress?
I couldn't resist. I'm taking it right off before I ruin it. How's that for 3 weeks' salary?
Isn't she the most? Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
No kidding now. Isn't she the prettiest gal you ever saw?
Put on a little weight, didn't you, darling?
It comes and goes.
Look at how nice her legs turned out.
Boy, the poplars got thick, didn't they?
Well, it's 3 years, Annie. We're getting old, kid.
How does your mom like New York?
Why'd they take our hammock away?
Oh, no, it broke a couple years ago.
Ha! What broke? He had one of his light lunches and flopped into it.
Excuse me.
Oh, she looks very intelligent.
Yeah. And this is Jim, Dr. Bayless.
He writes a lot about you.
Oh, don't believe it. He likes everybody. In the battalion, he was known as Mother McKellar.
I can believe it. Say, it sure is strange seeing him come out of that yard. It almost seems that Mom and Pop are in there now, and you and my brother doing algebra, and Larry trying to copy my homework. Gosh, those dear dead days beyond recall.
Well, I hope that doesn't mean you want me to move out.
Jim! Mr. Hubbard's on the phone!
I thought I told you I didn't want to see...
Please, dear! Please!
All right, Susie. All right. I've just met you, but if I could just give you a word of advice, never, not even in your mind, count your husband's money before you marry.
Jim!
At once! Told her to take up the guitar. Sure it would be a common interest for them. He loves the guitar.
I'll see it at the shore tonight. Raise some hell around here like we used to before Larry went.
You think of him. You see? She thinks of him.
What do you mean, Kate?
Oh, nothing. Just that you remember him. He's in your thoughts.
That's a strange thing to say. How could I help remembering him?
Did you hang up your things?
Yes. Say, you've sure gone in for clothes. I could hardly find room in the closet.
No. Don't you remember? That's Larry's room.
You mean they're Larry's?
Didn't you recognize them?
But it never occurred to me that... I mean, the shoes are all shined.
Yes, dear. Oh, for so long, I've been aching for a nice conversation with you. Tell me something.
What?
I don't know. Something nice.
She means, do you go out much?
Oh, shut up.
And are any of them serious?
Why don't you two choke?
Annie, you can't go into a restaurant with that woman anymore. In 5 minutes, 39 people are sitting at the table telling her their life story.
If I can't ask Annie a personal
Asking
question...
is okay, but don't beat her over the head. You're beating her.
Don't let them bulldoze you. You can ask me anything you like. What do you want to know, Kate? Let's gossip.
She's the only one that's got any sense. Your mother. She's not going to get a divorce, huh?
No. She's calmed down about it now. I think when he gets out, they'll probably live together. In New York, of course.
Well, that's fine. Because he's still, I mean, he's a decent man when all is said and done.
I don't care. She can take him back if she likes.
And you? You go out much?
You mean, am I still waiting for him?
Well, I don't expect you to wait for him, but,
But that's what you mean, isn't it?
well, yes.
Well, I'm not, Kate.
You're not?
Isn't it ridiculous? I mean, you don't really imagine he's...
I know, dear, but don't say it's ridiculous, because the papers were full of it. I don't know about New York, but there was a half a page about a man missing longer than Larry who turned up from Burma.
You couldn't have wanted to come home that badly, Mother.
Don't be so smart.
You can have a hell of a time in Burma.
So I've heard.
Mother, I bet you money you're the only woman in the country after 3 years is still talking about all
You're
this.
sure?
Yes, I am.
Well, if you're sure, you're sure. Doesn't say so on the radio, but I'm sure that in the dark at night, they're still waiting for their sons.
Mother, you're absolutely completely...
Don't be so damn smart. Now stop it. There are just a few things that you don't know. All of you. And I'll tell you one of them, Annie. Deep in your heart, you've always been waiting for him.
No, Kate.
But deep in your heart, Annie.
She ought to know, shouldn't she?
Don't listen. Don't let them tell you what to think. Listen to your heart, only your heart.
Why does your heart tell you that he's alive?
Because it has to be.
But why, Kate?
Because some things have to be, and some things can never be. Like the sun has to rise, it has to be. That's why there's God. Otherwise anything could happen. But there is God, and bad things cannot happen. I would know. I would know, just like the day that he went into that terrible battle. Did he write me? Was it in the newspaper? No. But that morning, I couldn't raise my head off the pillow. Ask Joe. Suddenly, I knew. I knew. And he was nearly killed that day. Annie, you know I'm right.
No, Kate.
I have to have a cup of tea.
Annie! How are you? Gee whiz!
Why, Frank, you're losing your hair.
He's got responsibility.
Gee whiz.
Without Frank, the stars wouldn't know when to come out.
But you look more womanly. You've matured.
Take it easy, Frank. You're a married man.
You still haberdashering?
Yeah, why not? Maybe I too can get to be president. How's your brother? Got his degree, I hear.
No, George has his own office now.
Don't say. And your dad, is he...
Fine. I'll be in to see you.
how about it? Does Dad expect a parole soon?
I don't really know.
I mean,
don't-
because I feel, you know, that if an intelligent man like your father is put in prison, then there ought to be a law that says either you execute him or let him go after a
You need
year.
a hand with that ladder, Frank.
Oh, that's all right. I'll finish the horoscope tonight, Kate. See you later, Anne. You look wonderful.
Haven't they stopped talking about Dad?
Well, nobody talks about him anymore.
Gone and forgotten, kid.
Tell me. Because I don't want to meet anybody on the block if they're gonna...
Shh. I don't want you to worry about it, okay?
Do they still remember the case? Joe, do they talk about you?
The only one still talks about it is my wife.
That's because you keep on playing policeman with the kids. All their parents hear out of you is jail, jail, jail.
Actually, what happened was when I got home from the penitentiary, the kids got very interested in me. You know, kids, I was like the expert on the jail situation. And as time passed, they got it confused, and I ended up a detective.
Except they didn't get it confused. He hands out police badges from the post toasties boxes.
It's wonderful to hear you laughing about it.
Why? What'd you expect?
The last thing I remember on this block was one word. Murderers. Remember that, kid? Mrs. Hammond standing in front of our house and yelling that word. She's still around, I suppose.
Oh, they're all still around.
Don't listen to her. Every Saturday night, the whole gang is in the arbor playing poker here. All the ones who yelled, murderer, taking my money now.
Don't, Joe. She's a sensitive girl. Don't fool her. They still remember about Dad. It's different with him because he was exonerated, but your father is still there. That's why I wasn't so enthusiastic about your coming, Annie. Honestly, I know how sensitive you are. and I told
Listen,
Chris-
you do like I did, you'll be okay. When I got home from the penitentiary, I got out of the car, but not in front of the house, on the corner. You should have been here, Annie. You too, Chris. You'd have seen something. Everybody knew I was getting out that day. The porches was loaded. Picture it now. None of them believed that I was innocent. The story was that I had pulled a fast one, getting myself exonerated. So I got out of the car and I walked down the street, but very slow and with a smile. The Beast. I was the Beast, the guy who sold cracked cylinder heads to the Army Air Force, the guy who made 21 P-40s crash in Australia. Kid, walking down the block that day, I was as guilty as hell. Except I wasn't. And I had a court paper in my pocket to prove it. And I walked past those porches. Result? 14 months later, I had one of the best shops in the state again, a respected man again, bigger than ever.
Joe Magazzo.
That's the only way you lick 'em is with guts. The worst thing you did was to move away from here. You made it tough for your father when he gets out. That's why I say I'd like to see him move back right onto this block.
How could they move back?
It ain't gonna end until they move back. Until people play cards with him again and talk with him and smile with him. You play cards with a man, you know he can't be a murderer. And the next time you write him, I want you to tell him just what I said. Do you hear me?
Don't you hold anything against him?
Well, Annie, I never believed in crucifying people.
But he was your partner. He dragged you
Well,
through the mud.
he ain't my sweetheart, but
What about you,
you
Kate?
gotta forgive, don't
Don't you
you? So the next time you write that,
I don't write to him.
Well, every now and then you must.
I've never written to him, and neither has my brother. Say, do you feel the same way?
He murdered 21 pilots.
What the hell kind of talk is that?
What kind of a thing is that to say about a man?
What else can you say? When they took him away, I followed him, went to him every visiting day. I was crying all the time. Until the news came about Larry, and then I realized it's wrong to pity a man like that. Father or no father, he willingly shipped out parts that would crash an airplane. And how do we know that Larry wasn't
I
one
was
of
waiting
them?
for that. Annie, as long as you're here, I want to ask you to never say that again.
You surprised me. I thought that you would be
What
mad
your
at
father
him.
did had nothing to do with Larry.
We
Nothing.
can't know that.
As long as you're here.
But Kate,
Put it out of your head.
It was because
That's all that's enough.
Uh,
Now, come inside and have some tea with me.
The one thing you don't
He's
want
not dead. So there's no argument. Now come.
in a minute. Now look, Annie.
All right, Dad, just drop it, all right?
No, she doesn't feel that way.
I'm
Annie,
sick of the whole subject now. Cut it out, okay?
you want her to go on like this?
No.
Those cylinder heads went into P-40s only. What's the matter with you? You know Larry never flew a P-40.
Then who flew those P-40s, Dad, huh? Pigs?
The man was a fool, but don't make a murderer out of him. You got no sense. Look what it does to her. Listen, you got to appreciate what was doing in that shop in the war, the both of you. It was a madhouse. Every half hour, the major calling up for cylinder heads. They were whipping us with the telephone. The trucks were hauling them away hot damn near. I mean, just try to see it human. See it human. All of a sudden, the batch comes out with a crack. That happens. That's the business. A fine hairline crack. All right, so he's a little man, your daddy. Always scared of loud voices. What'll the major say? Half a day's production. Shot. What'll I say? You know what I mean? Human. So he takes out his tools and he covers over the crack. Well, all right, that's bad, that's wrong, but that's what a little man does. If I could have been there, I would have told him, junk him, Steve. We can afford it. But alone, he was afraid. But I know he meant no harm. He believed they'd hold up 100%. Now that's a mistake, but it ain't murder, and you mustn't feel that way. Understand me? It ain't right. Annie, the day the news came about Larry. He was in the cell next to mine, Dad, and he cried. He cried half the night.
Yes, but he should have cried all the night.
Annie, I do not understand.
Are you gonna stop it?
Don't yell at him. He just wants everybody happy.
That's my sentiment. Can you stand steak?
And champagne.
Now you're operating. I'll call Swanson's. Big time tonight, Annie.
Can't scare me.
I like that girl. Wrap her up. You got nice legs, Annie. I want to see everybody drunk tonight. Look at him. He's blushing.
Drink your tea, Casanova. Isn't he a great guy?
You're the only one I know who loves his parents.
Oh, kind of went out of style, didn't it?
It's alright. It's a good thing. You know, it's lovely here. The air is sweet.
I'm not sorry you came.
I'm not sorry, no, but I'm not gonna stay.
Why?
Well, for one thing, your mother as much as told me to go.
Well...
You saw that, and then you've been kind of...
What?
Well,
What?
kind of embarrassed ever since I got here.
I mean, well, the thing is, you know, I kind of figured to sneak up on you over the period of a week or so, you know, but they take it for granted that we're all set.
I knew they would. Your mother, anyway.
How'd you know?
Well, from her point of view, why else would I come?
Well, I mean, would you want to? I mean, like, I guess you know this is why I asked you to come.
I guess this is why I came.
Annie, whew. Annie, I love you. Oh, I love you a great deal. I love you.
Oh!
Sorry. I got no imagination. I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, I'm embarrassing you.
No.
I mean, I didn't want to do it here. I wanted someplace we'd never been. We'd be brand new to each other. I mean, it feels wrong here, doesn't it? I mean, this yard, this chair. I want you to be ready for me. I don't want to win you away from anything.
Chris, I've been ready a long, long time.
And he's gone forever. You're sure?
I almost got married 2 years ago.
Well, why didn't you?
You started to write to me.
You felt something that far back.
Every day since.
Oh, Annie, why didn't you let me know?
Well, because till then you never wrote. And when you did, what did you say? You sure can be ambiguous, you know?
Annie, give me a kiss. Give me... I kissed you. I kissed Annie. I kissed Annie. I kissed you. You know
Why did you
how long?
wait
You know how
till
long I waited to kiss you?
All I've done is sit and wonder if I was crazy for thinking of you.
Oh, we're gonna live now. I'm gonna make you so happy.
Not like that, you're not.
I kissed you.
Like Larry's brother. Do it like you, Chris. Chris, what is it?
Let's drive someplace. I want to be alone with you.
What is it, your mother?
Nah, it's nothing like that.
No, what's the matter? Even in your letters there was something ashamed.
Yeah, I suppose I was, but it's going away from me now.
You've got to tell me.
I don't know where to start.
It wouldn't work like this.
It's all mixed up in so many other things. You know, overseas I was in charge of a company.
Yeah?
Well, I lost them.
How many?
Almost all. It takes a little time to toss that off. Because they weren't just men. For example, you know, one day it had been raining several days. And this kid comes to me with his last pair of dry socks, puts it in my pocket. I mean, that's only a little thing, but that's the kind of men they were. They didn't die. They killed themselves for each other. I mean that exactly. I mean, I got this idea, watching them go down. Everything was being destroyed, see, and it came to me that one new thing was made, a kind of responsibility man for man. To see that, to bring it on the earth like a monument behind every man right next to him, and to make a difference to him. And then I came home, and I mean, it was amazing. There was no meaning in it here. I mean, everybody thought it was a kind of bus accident, so I went to work with Dad in that rat race again. I felt like you said, ashamed somehow. Because nobody had changed at all. I mean, I felt ashamed to be alive, to open the bank books, to drive a new car, to see the refrigerator. Because when you drive that car, you've got to know it comes out of a love a man can have for another man. You've got to be a little better because of that. Otherwise, what you have is just loot. And there's blood on it. I didn't want to take any of it, and I guess, that included you.
And you still feel that way.
I want you now, Annie.
Because you mustn't feel that way anymore. You have a right to everything. Understand that? To me, too. And your money? There's nothing wrong in your money. Your father put hundreds of planes in the air. You should be proud. A man should be paid for that.
Oh, Annie, I'm going to make a fortune for you.
What'll I do with a fortune?
Hey, Ann, what is this, Labor Day?
All right.
You should burst out.
Well, nobody told me it was Labor Day. Where's the hot dog?
All right, you said it once, okay?
Well, so long as I know it's Labor Day, from now on I'll wear a bell around my neck.
Oh.
You're so subtle.
George Bernard Shaw is an elephant.
George, hey, you kissed it out of my head. Your brother's on the phone.
My brother?
Yeah, George, long distance.
What's the matter? Is anything wrong?
I don't know. Kate's talking to him. Hurry up. She'll cost him $5.
I wonder if we have to tell your mother yet. I mean, I'm not very good in an
We'll
argument.
wait. After dinner, all right? Don't get tense, all right? I'll take care of it, okay? Bye.
What are you telling her?
We're getting married, Dad. Well, don't you have anything to say?
I'm glad, Chris. I'm just...
What?
George is calling from Columbus.
Columbus?
Did Annie tell you he was going to see his father today?
No, she didn't know anything about it.
Chris, you think you know her pretty good?
Dad, what kind of question is that?
I'm wondering. All these years, George don't go to see his father. Today he goes, and she comes here.
So?
It's crazy, but it comes to my mind. She don't hold nothing against me, does she?
Well, what are you talking about?
I'm just talking. To the last day in court, the man blamed it all on me, and this is his daughter. I mean, if she was sent to find out something.
Why? What is there to find out, Dad?
I mean, if they want to open up the case again for the nuisance value to hurt us.
How could you think that of her, Dad?
Sorry, it can't be, of course.
Sometimes you...
All right, forget it.
Amaze me.
I want a clean start for you, Chris. I want a new sign over the plant. Christopher Keller Incorporated.
J.O. Keller is good enough.
Well, we'll talk about it. I'm going to build you a house. Stone with a driveway from the road. I want you to spread out. I want you to use what I made for you. I mean, with joy, without shame, with joy.
All right, Dad.
Say it to me.
Why?
Because sometimes I think you're ashamed of the money.
No, nothing like that.
Because it's good money. There's nothing wrong with that money.
You don't have to say it to me.
Look, Chris, I'll go to work on Mother for you.
Yeah?
We'll get us so drunk. Tonight, we'll all get married. There's going to be a wedding, kids. Like there was never seen. Champagne, tuxedos, the whole shooting match.
Control yourself. What did he say to you, for God's sake? All right, come then. Yes, they're all here. Nobody's running away from you. And try to get a hold of yourself, will you? All right. Goodbye.
Something happened?
He's coming here?
On the 7 o'clock, he's in Columbus. I told him it would be all right.
Sure, fine. Your dad took sick?
I don't know. George didn't say he was sick. Well, I suppose it's something stupid. You know, my brother. Let's go for a drive or something.
Sure, yeah. Dad, give me the keys.
Drive through the park. Beautiful now.
Be right back. Come on, Dad.
See you.
Take your time. What does George want?
He's been in Columbus since this morning with Steve. He's got to see Annie right away, he says.
What for?
I don't know. He's a lawyer now, Joe. George is a lawyer. After all these years, he never even sent Steve a postcard. Since he got back from the war, not even a postcard.
So what?
Now he gets on an airplane from New York to see Steve. An airplane?
Well, so?
Why?
I don't read minds, do you?
Why? What should Steve suddenly have to tell him that he has to take an airplane to see him?
What do I care what Steve's got to tell him?
You're sure, Joe?
Yes, I'm sure.
He's smart. The boy is coming. He's smart.
Once and for all, did you hear what I said? I said, I'm sure.
All right, Joe. Just be smart.
Hey, Michael, director. He played Bert.